try it one more time?
One more time.
Second verse, the same as the first. And it is time for another episode of the Real Pundits podcast. And this is episode 45.
45?
45. Anyways, we have to start off low-key, but before I do that, am I by myself? Hello?
You might be.
Okay, so I guess it's just me.
I'm a Fig Newton of your imagination.
That talks on a microphone.
Yeah.
That is impressive. I got one heck of imagination. Anyways, let's start off the way I was supposed to be, starting off a little bit more somber than getting all the way amped up.
This
Jonn.
is just time number 2 of recording this, so it's hard to say goodbye to your homies when you do it twice.
Yeah, but we're starting off saying goodbye to Jonn Singleton and Peter Mayhew. Singleton, you've
I'll
done
ask you again. What's your favorite Singleton film?
And the same way I did the first time that no one heard, I have a hard time doing it because there is not a favorite. The man has done really great film work. Anytime he's injected himself into a product, I always go, it's worthy of watching. So Boys in the Hood is still a classic, and it always will be. I love what he did with the Too Fast and Too Furious, or Furious. And the man, he's knocked out some movies. That's all I'm going to say. He's left a legacy behind. Now, as far as Peter Mayhew, I'm not gonna, like I said before, I'm not going to do a Chewbacca noise, but Chewbacca's gone. The original Chewbacca is gone.
Yeah, but like you said in the other recording, they found a replacement, so...
They've already been working the new replacement in since The Force Awakens. So, I mean, that is definitely that. But rest in peace for both those guys. Now, normally on the show, you are the person who will sit there and riff on something and give the negative spin to it. That is your thing. And
that is my thing.
That's your thing. Now, normally when it comes down to it, you start up in our pre-production of the who greenlit this.
Yep.
Today is my day for who greenlit this. And it's not only who greenlit this, but it's also who actually went through the screening and said this was okay. Audiences are agreeing to this whole situation. It is the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer.
Wow.
Just the trailer alone, I'm not fired up. I'm just very concerned on how we got a screening through that someone approved that and gave it the okay to go ahead.
The only people that are fired up about this are fired up for the wrong reasons. I haven't seen one person really excited about it. More, I've seen people
laughing about
it, going, "What is this crap? It's going to bomb." Nope. I'm going to take that back because every time I say that, it doesn't bomb.
It doesn't bomb. I don't need you to say that, man. I need you to.
But you know what? I will say that if they don't put Uganda Knuckles.
Oh boy, you're going to start with the whole Uganda Knuckles thing. You showed that to me.
If Uganda Knuckles doesn't show him the way, then there's a missed opportunity.
I just think
to capitalize on a dead meme.
I think that this is going in the same run of other like video game to movies. There's been some okay ones and some really bad ones, and here it is. We've had the Super Mario Brothers movie.
That was great. I don't care what anybody says.
It was interesting.
It was phenomenal. It was everything I wanted in it. And I don't care what anybody says.
So I was saying you're a huge Dennis Hopper fan.
Well, yeah.
Okay, that's all that.
I love Dennis Hopper.
And John Leguizamo.
I love John Leguizamo. I don't remember who played
Mario. It's me, Mario.
He definitely didn't seem like that. I know the actor. He was huge in the 90s.
Yeah, he was.
But, he was Mario, and Luigi Mario, and then, man.
But the concept comes up to it is, they did this Sonic. Some of the scenes I go, that's a really cool way of doing it. Now, I haven't even gotten to the part of the return of Jim Carrey. That's all that trailer was basically just said, okay, how are we going to tell this story? Let's just have Jim Carrey do Jim Carrey stuff and bring him right back to
Dr. Robotnik?
And he wasn't even Dr. Robotnik. I mean, he's
supposed to be the egg.
Yeah, he's supposed to be kind of a round man, kind of rotund, if you want to put it nicely. And he's not that. They have him
This is another scenario in which there's a perfect actor out there and nobody's using him.
Which one for this one?
Danny DeVito.
I'd have been okay with that. Especially that would give him a reason to have the floating things.
Yeah, and then like the mustache.
You
can just put a mustache on him.
And you don't have to really work that hard. He can be that guy. But my problem was the face of Sonic I thought was stupid. Gangsta's Paradise for the song for that? Who...
This is the second worst thing to happen to Coolio since he misspelled his Juggalo tattoo on his arm.
My problem is, really, you have all the songs that exist in the world, and this is what you pick? I'm
surprised Michelle Pfeiffer didn't put up a fight for this because it's from her Dangerous Minds
I could accept it in Dangerous Minds.
Well,
I
it
can't
makes
accept
sense.
it in Sonic the Hedgehog.
It makes sense in Dangerous Minds. It doesn't make sense in Sonic the Hedgehog unless Uganda Knuckles is in fact in it.
That's the true villain. All Dr. Robotnik is the
showing,
background.
He's just going to show Sonic the way.
Oh man, I'm just in shock that we are now in the world that hey, we have Detective Pikachu coming out that actually looks the way it's supposed
intellectual
to,
property and
just running into the ground.
Yeah.
We can't put a lot of money into something to actually make it look great and have a story. You get one or the other.
What did you expect? What did you expect when they said Sonic the Hedgehog live action? How did you think it was going to go?
Curly cues, upside down running on stuff. I expected it to be in his world, not, hey, let's do what we did in the Smurfs and everything else and bring it into our world. No, have it in its own separate world. Keep the original story.
They find him in a cabin like Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah.
This is the Woody Woodpecker film all over again, or the Chipmunk films.
Okay, continue on. How many other films can we come up with that are doing, hey, let's take them out of their universe, put them into our universe, and let them have fun? No.
You know what the best part of that whole trailer was? The Sega sign.
No, it wasn't, because they didn't have the Sega.
No, but just seeing it, because I could watch it on mute. Because when I used to play video games on the Sega Genesis in the nighttime, I had to turn the TV down.
So it was for you. It was like starting up a new game.
It was like, yeah. And then I saw everything else, and I was like, oh. It was literally like, what was the game? Road Rash.
Okay.
It's like playing Road Rash. You saw the Sega sign, you're like, yeah. And then like Road Rash, you're like, oh.
You're not playing Outrun.
Yeah, this sucks. But no, so nobody's excited about this film.
No one's excited about it, but if you have the response, especially of the net coming out and losing its mind.
Let's be real. The internet hates everything.
We hate everything, but there's a consensus when you get a large grouping of geeks together going, okay, what were you thinking? I'm not the only geek that's saying
they're not even divided on the issue, which is how you know you screwed up.
That's where if there was somebody going, no, this is no. Every single YouTuber and like podcaster I know is belonging on this.
You've gotten a winner when the internet's divided.
Internet's divided, or everyone's silent, just going, okay.
No, usually when it's an okay, you know your film's gonna bomb because nobody's caring.
No one cares about that film.
What happened with that? Oh yeah, Hellboy.
Ooh, yeah, that hurts, man. That
bomb.
Bong. Anyways, so we missed out on your point of view on season 2 of Game of Thrones.
Season 8, episode 2.
I mean, we're going all the way back. This has upset me so bad that I want to go back in time before they made a Sonic movie.
Okay, right. So
season 8, episode
2. I agree with all of your points as I listened to the episode. Seeing Brienne knighted was phenomenal. I think it was a fantastic story arc. And I'll get to that in a minute when I talk about episode 3.
You're going to hold that back all the way to...
I'm going to hold my talking about that really emotional moment for episode 3. Because if I was here last week, I'd have gone on the rant, and then it would have led into episode 3.
Okay.
But instead, I'm going to save it.
All right, then save your stuff, man. Save it.
So, the episode was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Now Daenerys knows John's thing. That was a bit ridiculous.
What, you wanted him to hold it back for a little bit longer?
No, Jonn did what Jonn would do.
That's the whole point.
And Danny reacted exactly how Danny would react. But and I get why he did it. And I'll hold off on that.
We're going to hold off until... Then why don't we just start talking about the third episode?
There's one specific thing that I do want to talk about.
Okay, then let's get to that so you can actually talk about
something. So in Game of Thrones lore in the books, there is the tragedy of Summerhall that happened on the day of Rhaegar Targaryen's birth. Okay. Mm-hmm. That was where King Aerys the Unlikely decided that he wanted to hatch 7 dragon eggs by setting Summerhall basically on fire. He wasn't trying to set it on fire, but pyromancers and wildfire and things got out of control, and it killed his son and his son's wife. So the crown prince of they used to call him the Prince of Dragonflies because he gave up his claim to the throne to marry a commoner. That commoner's name was Jenny of Oldstones. Mm-hmm. Now, in the books, Rhaegar Targaryen has to sing a song for a woods witch living in Summerhall when he goes to visit Summerhall because he was obsessed with the prophecy and the tragedy of Summerhall that happened on his birth. And with that, he used to have to sing a song to the Woods Witch to get her to talk to him. That song, as has been, there was no name for it in the books, but it does start with the lyrics, "High in the halls of the kings who are gone, Jenny would dance with her ghosts." The song has been dubbed Jenny of Old Stones now.
Right.
Because it's about Jenny of Old Stones. So Podrick breaking that out in this episode, for me...
Sing me a song.
For me, Podrick breaking that out in this episode was like the best part. I know that that's such a minute thing, but it's a callback to a really important fan theory that Rhaegar Targaryen hid the prophecy of Azor Ahai in that song.
Okay.
As he wrote it. And that same Woods Witch that he would sing that song to is the one that told him that his child would be Azor Ahai. Which is why he was obsessed with the prophecy of Azor Ahai.
Which is where you're going to tie this into
Jonn.
Okay, go ahead.
Leads into
Bring it home.
Jonn telling Dany that he is the son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. I think it was a fantastic callback and a fantastic swerve, which will lead us into episode 3.
Okay, people gonna die.
Yeah, not as many as I'd hoped.
Oh, first things first. Favorite scene, because I have to get into. I have two, but I'm probably gonna. We're kind of cross on one of these.
I've got 4. I've
Okay.
got 4 scenes that for me were like, I got on the edge of my seat and I was, or was like, yeah.
Okay, let's hear yours before I drop
My
mine.
first one.
First
I'll
one.
give you one. You give me one.
Okay.
My first one was Melisandre coming out of the dark and lighting every one of those Dothraki swords on fire, only to watch all of them go out. That whole sequence to me
That was mine.
set the tone for how this battle was going to go for them. This is, you have hope right now, and then, oh no, that sucks. Because now it makes it dark.
And to me, talking about dark, are we going to even comment about the whole thing that's on the internet right now about the whole dark?
Let me go ahead and say this.
You going to finish it for me? Go ahead and finish it. Go ahead.
If you are complaining about the battle being dark, you're an idiot. It was shot perfect for realism. If you're complaining about the realism shots, you haven't been paying attention to Game of Thrones.
Oh, you're back.
There's dragons and there's zombies, and that's not real. But the death and chaos was all about realism. Honor is not upheld in most societies, and honor can get you killed. Just like it has every honorable character up until they got plot armor. Brienne of Tarth, I'm looking at you.
Hey.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Now, setting of stone. My one complaint
You have
for
a complaint.
my favorite movie series is that in the big battle of Helm's Deep that happened in the middle of the night, it looked like everything was lit. The sun was basically out with some shade over them.
Well, they had lanterns. Everybody had huge lanterns. They would put
floating over their head and
of course,
under their asses.
Yeah.
Now it's in the dark. They're supposed to feel some kind of dread because they can't see what's coming. It was fantastic. Adjust the brightness on your screen and rewatch the episode.
I know a lot of people actually have been showing how they've been doing that of brightening their screen so they actually could watch it.
Yeah.
Well, talking about darkness, my favorite part is also in conjunction with that. But for the film side of things, you told a large amount of carnage all in the minds of the viewer. Mm-hmm. You had, like you said, you have this whole hope situation, and you're just watching each one of the lights just go out. And you hear sounds, but you don't see sounds. And to me, that was what made all of this work. That was almost traditional style horror for me. Mm-hmm. Because you didn't see all the horses get mangled. You didn't see the people.
Most of them ran back anyway.
Yeah, but you didn't see any of this. You didn't see the horses rear up and lose their minds because they're getting swarmed by...
They did.
It was just quiet. And watching the actors, especially, well, not the Unsullied, but everybody else just giving looks to each other of like, what's going on? Even they had to play that same game that we as an audience are playing of, we don't know what's going to happen. And we got a lot of moments where we were sitting in the chair of the people who were in the battle. And to me, that was good filmmaking. You brought us in instantly. Hey, we're getting ready to go to war. We're getting ready to go to war. Okay, no, it's on. And so you're standing on line with the rest of Winterfell. I thought that was amazing. They brought you in. Now, your second favorite scene. If you bring her
Zombie
up,
Land Bridge.
Okay. Zombie Land Bridge, I thought was, again, tradition. That was my next one. The one we're going to cross over, and I think it has to deal with the same one person. Or we got to give her props.
We're going to give her props at the end, if it's what I think it is, because at the end.
No. We'll get to it. Moving forward.
No,
Zombie Bridge, I thought was amazing.
I think
that was traditional
had
zombie.
way too much hope for, look, they're behind the fire. We've got some time to breathe. And then the Night King does a motion. And then now they're just piling on top of each other over the fire so they can cross. And it's like, oh, man. And I know who you're going to talk about. That's actually not on my favorite scenes list.
But
I don't care.
But
I don't care.
But
nope, don't care.
Then it's gonna be. Then I'll go for mine. Then
fine.
so it's mine.
Yeah.
Baby Bear.
No, it was a cool death.
I'll put her death as number 2 underneath the queen.
Death. It's the most logical death in the whole series. She's a child. She should have died. Somebody should have picked her up and put her in the crypts. Because at least then she could have fought and defended the people that died in the crypts. But she was a child. You were looking for her to die by letting her be dead.
But as a child, that was the strongest, toughest child I've ever seen. Baby Bear.
She went out like a boss. And I laughed.
The Queen of Thorns, her.
I laughed when she squished. I don't know why it was funny to me. It was just the sound made.
I thought it was the most gangsta thing I've ever seen. Because she straight up took that giant to the face like, before I go, I got something for you.
No, it was cool.
That was to me.
I dug it. It was cool. It just wasn't on my top.
It was top for me because there's a lot of characters when we get into Game of Thrones that they get deaths. So you're kind of like, well, I guess.
You want to talk about a Mormont going?
Mormonts, man.
These guys, not their episode.
Not their episode.
So my next favorite scene was the most logical scene in the whole thing.
Which one?
The Hound. Terrified by the fire, terrified by the overwhelming battle. He basically got the same panic attack he got during the Siege of King's Landing. And he was done. And he didn't want to move. And he's like, there's no beating them. And Barrett pointed out, Arya doing her thing. He's like, you tell her that. And then he realized that Arya's in danger. And he moved quick. Because he intended to protect Arya all the way back. He almost died protecting Arya once. He was ready to do it again. Because she believes that he never fought for anybody but himself. And he was intending to prove that he was trying to fight for her.
Yeah.
I think it was it was a fantastic character turn.
I thought it was a sweet scene.
It was a fantastic character turn for the Hound. Because beforehand, when he was with Arya, you knew he cared, but he also was like, I'm going to sell you to your aunt. And then at the end, he's like, well, I've got no choice but to take her. Everybody you know is dead.
Yeah.
Crap. And you didn't know how he really felt about it. He just knew he saw Jaime Lannister's sword there, so he's like, oh, I can't really trust you. You got Lannister's steel when he was talking to Brienne, and we'll get on Brienne in a minute. But the Hound, he had his character arc moment, which means
that was lovely.
Which means now in 2 episodes, if we don't have Clegane Bowl, it's a wasted opportunity. Like Brienne of Tarth in the Battle of Winterfell.
Oh boy,
okay.
you're gonna hate on my girl.
Let me just go ahead and do this.
You're gonna hate on my girl.
I'm not gonna hate on her. She had the best character arc of the series. The best character arc of the series. You're talking, besides Theon, she had the best. She was not taken seriously. She was laughed at. She was ridiculed. Then she was knighted and applauded. Her word means life or death to somebody people hate. She is respected. Mm-hmm. She had a full character arc. She serves no purpose now. And you cannot keep giving people plot armor because their favorite character is Walking Dead. I mean Game of Thrones.
Did you say what?
Yeah, Walking Dead. They put plot armor on some of these people like it's The Walking Dead.
Oh, gosh, I know.
Because my problem, Brienne of Tarth did not die in Season 3, in Episode 3 here. She should have. Because she was overrun. So should Tormund Giantsbane. And I love that character. That is one of my top 3 characters, is Tormund. And he should have bit it. Jaime Lannister. He should have died. Why? Because we've shown that he sucks at fighting now. How did the skilled Unsullied soldiers get killed, but left-handed Jaime, who can barely fight the Dornish, managed to survive? Plot armor. I get the Valonqar has to happen, but Tyrion survived, so you could have used him for the Valonqar. Mm-hmm. And So let's talk about my other favorite scene.
Well, you just kind of stomped mine on the ground, man.
Okay, go ahead with yours.
No, I'm good, man.
No, go ahead with yours.
Now, I was going to talk the upside of seeing Brienne the Knight doing knightly stuff. I mean, as much as you say she should have died, and I kind of agree with you that she should have, it would have been almost perfect.
It should have felt like Brienne was in peril at least, instead of like you're watching her being surrounded and her just hacking away, and then it's go to the other person.
Yeah, she was...
It never felt like Brienne was in peril.
There was a couple of times where she gave some screams. I was like, okay, this is it. This is the scene that I know is going to come. She's going to die here. I'm prepared for it.
Since I'm on my negative rant, who's going to kill Sam?
Yeah, see, that was where my negative comes in.
Who's going to just kill him? He needs to stop proving Alistair Thorne right.
Yeah.
When when you're out there, who do you want watching your back?
That was so...
He literally was laying on the ground.
Why did we go backwards with Sam? Because we started moving forward with Sam.
It was actually a director's call. I remember reading this before the season came out. That the actor that played Sam looked amazing wielding a sword, and he was doing really well. So they had to reshot all of his scenes because the director said, "No, Sam's a bumbling idiot and a coward. He can't be this good."
This was his time.
I
think if anything, this was his time to
protect Gilly, protect little Sam, protect his. This would have been his time to come full circle instead of.
And he was already starting on his full circle.
Yeah, he stood up to his dad. He
stood up to basically everything, and he's like, "I stole a book. Tee sorry." But you're like, okay, we're starting to see Sam progress some, and then you just snatched that away from him. I was like,
okay. But he's responsible for Ed's death, and then he just laid there crying the rest of the episode, and it's stupid.
Yeah, that was a waste.
I mean, Ed should have died. That's. Now the Knight's watch. Now his watch is ended.
Yeah, and Sam should have gone.
Right. Sam should have gone. No, there should be no main characters left.
We should be down to a very small
handful of Starks that were not on the front of the line.
Okay, what do you think about the? We had a long talk one day. We were talking about mythos because we hadn't figured out the mythos of the Night King.
Oh, him being able to raise the crypts of Winterfell. So
yeah, I saw that coming, man.
Everybody did. I was hoping that they'd swerve everybody, and just because the most of these things have been rotting down here so long that most of the bones are going to be dust. I mean, you don't have very many fresh corpses unless you were going to bring back a Ned Stark, a Rickon Stark. Unless you were going to do that, otherwise there are no fresh corpses down here. These are all rotting, falling apart, almost dust bones. But somehow they managed to come back together, which. I just don't agree with, but that scene is connected to one of my other favorite scenes.
Which is?
Jon Snow chasing down the Night King, leading to the Night King to turn around, and you're like, oh man, they're about to fight. And he's just like, nope,
I raise my hands.
And then it's called back to, holy crap, I just spaced on the name of the...
Which one?
The Hardhome. It's called back to Hardhome when Jon Snow watched him raise the dead, except now I'm like, okay, none of these characters are living through this because he just raised everybody that just died
around him.
Yeah, like none of these characters, all the soldiers that just fell next to Brienne are going to get up and start fighting Brienne. You see Ed's blue eyes. You see, all these other characters waking up like, oh, zombie guy,
zombie baby bear,
zombie baby bear. Like I'm not like she's going to move very well. Her bones are crushed, so she's just going to lay there and squirm. But the having Drogon fly down to help, Jonn, like that was cool. But that's kind of leading into that, Dany, come on, you're so concerned about the throne. You just saw Jonn get surrounded by the undead. Like this is a possibility. You could just let that go.
Just let it happen.
Yeah, just fly Drogon the other direction, man. You have no more competition because ain't no way he was making it through that. Logically,
until he did.
Yeah, he has plot armor, and then I'd be complaining about that too. But he could have just knocked Jonn off Rhaegal. You could have done anything, Dany. You could have had Drogon's like, oh, accidental fire.
Or at least have a weird moment.
I did like how Jonn had no idea how to tell Rhaegal to use fire.
Yeah.
She never taught him Dracarys.
He just sat there going, I wish I could do
something. Yeah.
Do something.
I saw it on the internet. People were like, why didn't Jonn just write it? Just like the trenches. Because Jonn doesn't know how to make his dragon make fire.
He barely got writing down.
Yeah, he's got writing down pretty good.
Oh, after this one, now I will give them props for some amazing nighttime CG dragon fight. That was really cool.
Seeing the flames coming out of the neck that was just bitten on Viserion was awesome. That Jonn wow moment.
Which one?
Come on, dude. He aggroed the boss and he's got to hide now. Like,
Yeah.
That was a gamer moment. Every gamer who's ever played an RPG video game has experienced that feeling of like, oh my God, this boss is way bigger than me. It's the first dragon encounter of Skyrim. You've got a sword, you're low level, and this thing's going to kill you, and you got to figure out how to do it. So you get tired of hiding, and you eventually just go hack and then run away again.
Hack and run away again.
But he didn't have to hack because right after the best scene of the film, right after the very best scene, this is
where are you going with this?
Theon's redemption.
That was almost sad. Almost.
It hit me a lot. See, I didn't care about Theon, dude. I was done. I was like, Theon, who cares? Until Bran's like, this brought you home. And then I'm like, oh, that's sweet. And then he's like,
you're a good
man.
you.
You're a good man, Theon. Thank you. And you're like, well, now you know he's going to die. And then you're like, okay, Theon, oh, you got your testicles back, metaphorically speaking, because you don't have them in real life, but you got your testicles back. Look at, you're charging the night. Oh,
why charge? I at least waited and
it showed the growth, man, because before he lost his twig and berries, he would have charged. And then when he lost his twig and berries, he had no idea who he was. You look at what happened with Euron, you look at how he left Yara. He did the one thing he wouldn't do beforehand. And it was to protect the guy he betrayed that started all the bullshit.
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic moment of Theon Greyjoy being a hero. And I was very pleased. And then the part that triggered the internet.
Which, are we going to dive deep into this?
Let's dive deep into it. I loved it. I don't care what the internet says.
I love that scene. I thought that was perfect.
This actually goes... drop.
Yeah, well, this also goes back to earlier in the episode where I was not expecting that scene to happen right then and there.
What, the Melisandre conversation?
Yes, I was not expecting for us to get a recap of how many eyes she was going to close.
As soon as I heard the words blue eyes, I went, she might kill the Night King.
Well, the part that got me is it was already kind of like hinted at that this was going to happen because when she walked in
season 3,
like even going back to season 3, but I'm going into just in this episode, she's walking by the Unsullied, and there's gangster salute gangster. That was all that was like, what's good? And you're like, yeah, what's good? And it moved on. I'm like, Oh no,
she gave Arya a look of fear. She's like, oh man, I told her there was a darkness.
Just
now she's embraced it. Oh crap! Yeah. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, and it was the fact of who was looking at me. Yeah, she's like, I know who you are. We got to have words. And the Onion Knight was like, now I remember one thing. If I see you again, I don't care.
Don't worry, Davos. I'll be dead by morning. Cool. And then at the end of it, man, when Dawn was coming up, he followed her outside. He's like, I'm gonna stab this girl. And I told her I would, and then she just crooned out, which had to be going through his head. Like, Stannis banged her, and she's a crone, dude. Which we already knew from previous seasons, but
it's the whole concept.
Nobody else saw it.
Yeah. Now the thing that comes up in there is everyone's calling Arya Mary Sue.
No.
And I even had it. Somebody wanted to respond to me off of
Master Adams' comment.
Yeah, and I'm going, no, she got trained. Did she complete her training? No.
Good enough to say she was no one.
Yeah, good enough to actually pull off being no one. So,
okay, so for those of you complaining that Arya didn't have enough training and she's not actually a faceless man, where was that complaint when she impersonated Walder Frey? Because realistically, without enough training, she wouldn't have been able to pull that off. The poison, sure. Poisoning everybody, the Freys are dumb. But being Walder Frey...
and hitting the entire room up and making sure... To me, that whole thing showed the girl learned
she
way
learned
more.
A lot.
There's a lot of stuff left off page and off screen
her
that we don't know.
Problem was her humanity, which she seemed to lose by the time she got back to Winterfell. So there is some... Because we just knew she was going home, but you didn't see her go home.
Mm-hmm.
We just knew she was going home, and then, bam, she's home. But you didn't get the... What happened after that conversation? Did he just let her walk out, or did he say, before you go home, there's some things I have to teach you? Because you didn't get any of that. There's none of that you got to see. So don't complain about something. A lot of things happen off screen.
And people want to go through and toss this Mary Sue when we actually have someone who's properly trained versus...
Daenerys picking up a sword, swinging. I mean, that was awesome. Good to see her do it.
Yeah, but it was not... She wasn't having full-on sword battles. She was just, like she said to Sansa, pointy end.
Yeah.
She was fighting for her life. I wanted to let that go. But,
which, by the way, she had needle. Like she had a dagger, or she had an obsidian dagger and needle. She couldn't help any of those people that got ganked.
Mm-mm.
No, she couldn't have stabbed some of her family members. She had to hide with Tyrion. That moment with Tyrion, man, she is going to manipulate the heck out of him.
Oh, yeah.
Or she is going to play him like Littlefinger.
Maybe she's the new Littlefinger.
I believe it. I would believe her being the new Littlefinger. I mean, she learned a lot from Cersei, and she learned from two of the best in the game. And Tyrion is...
It's sad that you said it. She learned from two of the best in the game.
Yeah, she did. She did. But and Tyrion, he's gullible now. He's not what he once was.
Especially now.
Yeah, he's right now. I mean, he's so lost.
Oh, I saw dragons. Cool. Oh, I'm seeing the dead walk.
I'm out. I can't logically process this. Speaking of being out, Bran, I'm gonna go now. Like, I'm tired of your conversation here. I'm gonna go now.
Just sitting there, totally chill. Just like, hey, man, what are we gonna do about this whole situation? I'll be right back. And just bounces out.
I'm gonna hang out with these birds, man.
Which that was never shown what all he was looking for.
He was watching.
Yeah, but
he was following the Night King around. He wanted to know how far it was. He Doctor Stranged it, man.
Yeah.
He saw this. He knew what was coming.
He knew exactly what he had to do.
And Arya gacked him.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved it, man. I don't care.
And of course we get a repeat of a similar thing that she's done before. So this isn't like she did something new. It's like, oh, I dropped the dagger here. You weren't expecting this? Kaya. I don't think she was expecting everybody to explode.
No, and I'm glad they did, man. I'm so happy that all of them just like the logical thing happened.
Did you feel that the ending was lackluster?
No, man.
Because I've seen that also on the internet.
And if for anybody that believes the Night King was the main villain of this series, also hasn't been paying attention. It is not the Night King that got Ned Stark beheaded. It was not the Night King that got Bran Stark pushed out a window.
It's Lady Stoneheart.
It was, well, yeah, basically Lady Stoneheart, but it is Cersei Lannister that has been the focal point and the cause of almost all the misery. Even if you think about like, hey, Joffrey was evil, she let it happen. She just tucked her head in the sand because that's her baby. And you can go back to, well, she was the victim of the Faith Militant. No, she empowered the Faith Militant. Had she not empowered the Faith Militant wouldn't have ever turned on her. All the bad things that have happened because of Cersei freaking Lannister.
Now, what do you think as far as this episode coming up? We're going to be dealing with a lot of...
Planning.
What?
More planning.
You want planning?
I wonder who's going to get knighted this time.
I don't know.
Podrick. He would have earned it.
Yeah, he would have earned it. But I mean, it's going to be a huge slowdown because I know this is going to be a politics game because she's going to try to tell all of her people, hey, this woman who's coming, who created this idea of
she's earned the support of the North. The North is not... Sansa's the only one that's not going to trust her. The rest of whoever's left...
I'm talking about the people in King's Landing. I think she's going to spin this into, there really were no frozen zombies. This lady just wants to go through and become the next Mad King. This is...
she's going to try to spin it. I don't think the Golden Company belongs to her, though.
Who do you think?
I think the Golden Company belongs to the Iron Bank.
Okay, so you think that
there's something afoot.
Okay,
and it could be Euron that runs that owns the Golden Company right now, not Cersei. He could have bought him for him and his purposes, but there's a reason why they did not, historically speaking, in the books, the Golden Company will support a Targaryen's claim to the throne over everybody else's.
Why?
Usually at Blackfire. Well, because the Golden Company was started by Blackfire,
which has problems with,
Westeros, but mostly Targaryens.
Yeah.
Well, but since you're going off of Aegon Targaryen in the books, leading the Golden Company to a siege of Storm's End, you have Aegon on the north. There's got to be some kind of backing there. There's got to be some kind of connection, or they're just going to ignore it, which is fine if they do.
Or you're going to find a magical other Targaryen that's there.
You could find you could find a Blackfire line. There could be other Blackfires. The Strickland guy Captain Strickland might be a Blackfire. You don't know.
We don't know because
we haven't really gotten to introduce them yet.
So it could happen.
And what happened to the Dornish army? They killed 6 Dornish people. Where's the Dornish army?
Yeah.
Is nobody asking about that? Why is nobody asking where the Dornish are? They're just accepting all of their leadership dead, and they're not doing a damn thing about it?
Yeah, that part of the story is over with.
I mean, what was he saying? The one Prince of Dorne was saying that many in Dorne call for war. Where are those people? I saw 6 of them, and they all died. Is that the many? Because that's not many. The rest of the Dornish should be like ready to go. Like you just killed
all of our people.
Alaria Sand is our leader is trapped in King's Landing. Okay, cool. Well, on top of her people being here, we're going to be here, and she's got the Dornish too.
Right.
So where are they? House Glover, they might take him back. Manderley, maybe not. Well, no, they'll probably take Manderley back, but it's going to be a lot of politics. Not much army fighting because Daenerys doesn't have
an army.
Anymore.
No army there.
She's got the support of whoever's left in the north, which is women and children and some old people, maybe a few soldiers
and 1.5 dragons.
And well, she's got 2 dragons.
Yeah, but one's injured,
and one of them doesn't belong to her anymore.
So it comes down to predictions over other than planning. Anything else?
Traveling by sea and air and land.
Hoorah! All right, so.
Yeah.
Ending of all this thing, it's another one in the can. If you want to hit us up, we have an email address. It's mailbag@realpundits.com. Not that anyone has actually ever used it before, so...
Nobody emails people. They'd rather tweet us at The Real Pundits.
Oh, really? At The Real Pundits on Twitter?
Pundits on Twitter, yeah.
Okay. So that takes care of the ending stuff, and...
look out for some changes coming soon.
Oh, yes, indeed, and how.
Bye. Bye.